basically like, I guess he's not considering that it's all over.
We not only do video, we're live. We're live on YouTube. So I'm going to send you a link.
Hold on.
In case you want to share it.
Can you see me?
Hold on. I can't see you yet. No, hold on. Let me ask you to
Hold on.
start video. I'll send you a link and you can post it. I'm hoping the other two will join actually.
Hold up. Whoop.
Now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. I'm just
okay.
Give me a second.
Let me grab my coffee cup. It's gonna be a long night, man.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out. Okay, whatever. Wait there.
So is it just you and me?
Well, I'm hoping we'll get two more guests. At the moment, it's just you and me. You know how it is, man. You know, we black people, man. It takes always longer for us to
let
join.
me ask you a question. You've still been having regular podcasts, right?
Yeah, sure, but this is the Monday ones. Not on on Monday we have the normal Blackopolypse, and on Thursday we have the family affair. But all the other podcasts haven't been going, like living in Germany and stuff. So everything's been really quiet in that aspect. But I'm gonna start. I'll start the football one now on Monday.
I don't do football, man.
That's more soccer. That's soccer. That's not for you. And then I want to get another one going again. Obviously, with us, we've still got our conspiracy podcast, man. This could be part of that. Sack it.
Okay.
So yeah, man. It's actually getting more difficult for me because a lot of people want to do podcasts now, but I don't have the capacity or the time to do all the podcasts I would like to do. You know, I need to start getting in some income or something so it frees me up, man. Because once I can free myself away from the constraints of
maybe
work,
you can get some sponsorship, you know?
That would be good too, but I don't know. They probably won't look at me at the moment. We're not big enough.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna keep going, man. Keep going and see how it goes in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at the moment. Let me see.
You like my PJs, man? I'm wearing my pajamas.
Your pajamas looking tight. Yeah. Hey man, you looking good though, man. You've lost a lot of weight, looking good, lean.
Well, actually, I lost like 50 kilos, but I put like 15 back on.
Really?
Yeah,
Is that
but
because
I'm still 35 kilos smaller than I was.
okay.
You know, it just before I think I was a little bit too small. You know.
Yeah.
But
What did you get down to?
everything is cool.
What did you get down to in the end?
I was all the way down. I was all the way down to 82, man.
82. Oh man, you lied to me, man. I'll show you you're about 6'1" and it's 6 foot.
No, I'm 6 foot.
Yeah. So you like what 82?
5'11" and a half.
Yeah, that's what you need to be, man. I'm
I'm rocking a 34-inch waist. You know.
Yeah.
I was a 44. You know.
But now 10 sizes. It's brilliant.
Yeah. 10 inches. Yeah.
Brilliant, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so actually I need to do
I was thinking, what the fuck is that? That's butt cable. For the headphones.
Okay, so I need to find. I gotta kind of multitask as usual. I need to do a couple of things at the same time. So yeah, anyway, we're talking about the election, man. Obviously, it's coming up. Actually, that's what I wanted to bring up actually because I have no idea what's going on. The election, latest. I'm sure you know. When do the results come in? Probably like early hours in the morning.
Well, as soon as the polls close,
yeah,
they start to tally the results. But because there's such a large mail-in, since the majority of people are doing mail-in voting and early voting, you know, it's going to take a long time to count the mail-in because actually Trump actually sabotaged the postal system.
I've been hearing about that actually.
To try and make it impossible to count the mail-in votes, you know, and from what I understand, his plan was to after the polls close, to walk to a podium and declare himself the winner before all the votes are counted. Yeah, because he's saying that those mail-in votes are all going to be fraudulent anyway.
Oh, is that what he's using?
Yeah. You know,
okay.
So, but that's not going to work.
What I want to hear, what I want to hear from you, obviously being American, because we got this. Like I was speaking to an American the other day, and he was like, the best case scenario would be Biden wins, he dies a week later, and then we get the
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, yeah.
You know, a lot of people are saying that the only reason they would vote for, well, I mean, Biden is going to be the oldest person to ever be elected president
if he wins.
And the problem is that America is so racist at its core. Yeah. A lot of people are not going to vote for Biden just because of his age and out of fear that Kamala Harris will end up being president.
It could be that, you know. Actually, I never thought about that, but that's true. You might look at giving Biden the vote would be giving the lady. But
well, think about it, man.
Lady.
Think about it. Barack Obama was the first Black president, right?
Yeah.
The first president in history that the Senate wouldn't even allow him to bring a judicial nomination for the Supreme Court 8 months out of the election, 8 months out from the end of his term, right? And they wouldn't allow him to nominate somebody to the Supreme Court. They killed 2 nominations from him and never even brought him to the Senate floor for debate. And now here we are, less than 2 weeks from the election, and Trump is allowed to bring somebody into the Supreme Court to give the conservatives a 6-3 majority,
What? Okay.
which means it's a double standard, man.
Yeah.
He's the first president in history where they criticized him so hard. I mean, he wore a tan suit and it was a scandal. you know, he was doing a joint press conference in the Rose Garden of the White House,
Mm.
and it started to rain,
Yeah.
and he had the Prime Minister of Italy standing there in the Rose Garden with him,
Mm.
and these two Marine bodyguards
Yeah.
came out, and they were standing there holding umbrellas over the president and the Prime Minister of Italy, and
Yeah.
that was a scandal. They were saying that these guys' jobs are to protect our country, not to protect the president from rain. You know, but they did the same thing for George Bush. They did the same thing for Bill Clinton. They did the
Yeah.
same thing, for all the other presidents, and it wasn't an issue because they think, who is this black guy to be standing there having our perfect little white Marines protecting him from the rain? Just
It's
ridiculous
crazy.
shit, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
Yeah.
anyway, what I wanted to ask is, I would like your perspective of why people should vote for Biden, or why will people vote for Biden today? What does he offer, like the people of America right now? Why people should vote for him?
Just because he represents normalcy.
Back to the old.
He represents. I don't give a shit about the status quo.
Mhm.
Because personally, I think up until this point, it hasn't really mattered who sat in the White House,
Yeah, sure.
because most presidents, even Barack Obama included, they were all corporatist.
No.
They were, in fact, Barack Obama specifically, he was the first president in the history
Yeah.
of the presidency that everybody that was on his cabinet was a representative of the banking industry or Wall Street,
Yeah.
except for the Surgeon General and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Yeah.
Everybody else on his cabinet came from the banking industry
Yeah.
or Wall Street.
Mhm.
First president in history to do that. So, and it doesn't get any more corporate than that.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, up until this point, it didn't matter. I didn't participate in elections because I didn't support the system, because it's basically it's what it's been is an illusion of choice. That's been my argument the whole time. If you got a two-party system, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah, that's true.
You
Yeah.
know. Also, it think of it this way: if you are going to Burger King and you're dissatisfied with the product,
Mhm.
and you go and bitch at the manager can give you a new burger,
Yeah.
but the manager is not in a position to change policy because he doesn't own the store.
Yeah.
So you've got somebody managing. He's the face of the franchise.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the guy that has to stand there and get bitched at if you're not satisfied with your product. He's the guy that if you like what you got, he's the one that gets the attaboys from the customers.
Yeah.
But the guy that owns Burger King, you never see him.
It's like the government.
He's sitting back there collecting his money. You know, and if I own an ice cream store, I don't give a shit whether you eat chocolate or vanilla because it all belongs to me.
Yeah. So okay, so Biden represents normalcy, and then you got Trump.
Stability, normalcy, you know, somebody that's not a narcissistic sociopath.
Well, he's been involved in a lot of scandals, though. You know, Biden too.
Well, I'm going to tell you, a lot of the scandals that Biden has been involved in are, I mean, it's a lot of it is like manufactured.
Yeah.
Biden's biggest problem is he steps on his dick a lot. You know, no, seriously, he says stupid shit.
Yeah.
You know, and those, I mean, his scandals, I mean, or like he has this thing where he smells women's hair. You know,
I've seen that.
But Donald Trump is a rapist, man.
Yeah, I think they're
you know,
yeah.
and he has even bragged about his proclivity for sexual assault, you know, and he says because he's a celebrity, he can get away with it. You know, just picture Barack Obama saying that.
Right.
Yeah, that would be
impeached.
Lynched. It would have been lynched, not impeached, it would have been lynched.
Yeah. You know, that's my point. It's like you can't. It's a complete double standard. Hold on, man. I gotta plug in my tablet to make sure that I don't run out of battery while this is going on.
Hi, Tanya. Thanks for joining again. You know, I always love when you're there. I love your energy, man. I see your beautiful smile. I'm like, yes.
You already know this is election day. Let's go. You see, I got.
I'll be right back.
You representing?
I got my Ohio Tribe shirt on.
Yeah, right. Raising by Ohio Tribe.
It's raising my Ohio Tribe. So I'm raising my kiddos, my family. I got my pearls rocking for Camilla. It's time to change this nation. Is it all going to change overnight? No, it's not. But the first step is leadership. Because like he said, the things that are happening, the things that he said in the last 24 hours, if you don't get it, then you don't have for 24 years. He don't even care. Guess what at the van, you know, with Biden's van getting hit, and you're saying, okay, Ohio, you know, okay, Texas. You're pushing the agenda to just be a vigilante, and they're literally taking it.
I'm having a really difficult time understanding what you're saying because I guess your internet connection is really slow or something, or you're in a car apparently.
Car? Can you hear me? Yeah, it's it's just so disheartening to see others still wanting to vote for him and when you ask somebody why, they get mad. But why are you getting mad? Well, we're just asking you, what has he done? And he keeps saying what he's done for African American people. He hasn't done anything. What, gave us a $100 check that we're going to see taken back in our taxes next year?
Well,
it wasn't free.
I have to say, to be fair to Trump is an asshole. He's a failure as a human being. Okay,
nice way of putting it.
But what he has done a lot for prison reform. You know, Barack Obama was in office for 8 years, and he never did away with that 3 strikes thing.
Has that been taken away now completely?
Again, it doesn't feel it. And then it still doesn't equate to nothing. I don't care about a prison reform.
No,
it's nothing.
Wait. My point is, he touts the jobs thing, blah blah blah, but that's bullshit. what the jobs thing, he's just riding. It's like when a president establishes economic policy. It takes a while before the effects of that economic policy actually moves the economy. Okay, and Barack Obama had one of the most successful economic reforms of anybody in the White House, and the economic prosperity, even 4 years after he has left office, despite of everything that Donald Trump has done to undo everything that Barack Obama has done, it's still, people are still reaping the benefits of his economic policies. The problem is Donald Trump has fucked everything up to the point, and the stock market is doing great, but people's job, I mean, so what? You improve the jobs numbers. You know, what difference does it make if you got if you're working, if what it's kind of like in a press conference one time when Bill Clinton was talking about how he improved the job market. He created over 2 million jobs. And this lady said, "I know you created 2 million jobs, Mr. President. I've got 3 of them." You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the thing, though. Like, yeah, we're still seeing it, but again, you have no policies for health because I'm a pre-existing condition. You don't have any policies in place for my mother who's security. For my daughter who is a brain tumor survivor, you want to take health care. Then you want to say, well, we gave you some money, what, $1,200, and you're saying giving more. People have lost those $2 million that you gave that that are in place. Half of those jobs are now gone because of COVID that you still don't know. I live in Ohio. That's one of the heaviest hitting countries.
And he was wanting to give, and he was wanting to give another. He was wanting to give another $1.5 trillion to corporations to help the corporations get through COVID. And he gives Americans $1,200, and they think, oh, it's like something Dave Chappelle said. Dave Chappelle said, when we substitute good and bad for right and wrong, we've got our ethics upside down. He said somebody who decides what they want based on what's good and bad instead of what's right or wrong is somebody that's easy to control. He said, because a person that substitutes good and bad for right and wrong is like a mouse in a maze that's just trying to find the cheese. Right? But somebody who understands the difference between right and wrong is somebody who is aware of the fact that he's in a maze and he's trying to get out of the maze. He's not looking for the fucking cheese, because if all you want is the cheese, that means you're content to be in the maze.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's like yes, you create a bunch of jobs, but if they're shit jobs, what are you doing to improve my status? You give me a piece of cheese, a $1,200 piece of cheese. When it's like putting a Band-Aid on an open chest wound.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And it's straight up bullshit, man. Straight up. And under normal circumstances, I would say, fuck the Democrats, fuck the Republicans. Okay? Under normal circumstances, that's my philosophy, because until they do away with the Electoral College, the elections don't mean shit anyway, because if anytime you can have 3 million more votes and you still lose the election, something's wrong with the system.
Yeah, that's true. But actually, I never really understood that you have like, how is it, the two votes? You got the popular vote, you got the normal vote, and you got the popular vote. That's like,
What
hold
you
on,
have
so,
is you have the popular vote, and then you have the electoral votes.
yeah. So even if you win one of them, you've probably already won the election anyway.
Well, it depends. If you can, like I said, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. She
Yeah.
got 3.5 million votes more
Yeah.
than Trump got. But because he won the rural vote and he won states, he was able to flip states that were like
Swing states or something. Is that what they call them?
well, they call them swing states. Those are states where the vote is hotly contested, like some, for example, Michigan last year or
Mhm.
last election. He won Michigan by 11,000 votes. So in these states, the electoral votes, it's a winner take all thing,
Yeah.
you know. And 11,000 votes is a razor thin margin
Yeah.
when you're talking about like 5 million voters, for example.
Yeah.
11,000 ain't shit, you know. And I think he won the election with, I think it was a total of less than 100,000 votes nationwide.
Yeah.
You know, that's how he was able to win the electoral college by the states that he won. I think it was Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Those are traditionally states that vote Democratic,
Mhm.
and he won those states. He was able to flip them Republican, and because of that, uh, and because of Hillary Clinton's fucking arrogance, she felt like those states were sewed up, that she didn't even have to campaign there.
Yeah.
You know, Trump was there all the time. He did like several rallies in those states.
Mm.
You know, and Hillary Clinton, she just basically took the black vote for granted.
Yeah.
She took the Democratic vote for granted. She took the independent vote for granted. You know, she thought that it was going to be a coronation rather than an election. You know, in other words, it's like, hey, I can't
Just
lose.
turn up. Yeah, I just gotta turn up. I got it. I got this.
And she and then you combine that with Jim Comey's October surprise, where 30 days before the election, he starts investigating her emails.
Mm.
You know, and then 11 days before the election, he's after the damage has been done, right? 11 days before the election, he says, okay, we haven't been able to turn up anything, you know. But the fact that they decided 30 days before the election to start investigating her again, there you go.
Mm. Mm.
You know what I mean? It called her legit. It called her entire candidacy into question. She's a crook,
Yeah.
you know, which was, and I'm going to tell you something. When her and Bill Clinton were in the White House, people thought they were crooks anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they were crooks.
You know, America's been run by crooks, actually. If you look at it, you had the Clintons, and then Bush came in. I believe Bush was after Clinton, wasn't he? Bush. He was a criminal. He won the vote as well. He won the election also crookedly, didn't he? Because a lot of the votes went missing. I think it was the whole state's votes, Florida votes. I think it was that went missing. And I was like, how can you lose a whole state's votes? And I wouldn't be surprised if this happens again.
Nobody lost the votes.
Just hit
The
them.
votes were not lost. It was just it was just so close,
Mm.
you know, in Florida, and it was so close that he instead of conceding, I mean, he was less than an hour away from conceding the election, saying, okay, congratulations, George Bush, you know.
Yeah.
But then the vote was so close in Florida, he decided to wait before conceding the election. And then this lady who was it was her job to certify the election in Florida. Florida was also a state where his brother was the governor.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go. Jeb, was it Jeb?
Jeb Bush, exactly.
So of course it's
Republican
classic.
election commissioner, Republican governor, the legislator, the Congress and the Senate of Florida, all Republicans, you know.
Yeah.
And Florida was the battleground state, and that's why it took all those weeks to decide. They had to recount. They did a recount in Florida, and then everybody had their lawyers supervising the counters, and and they were okay. There's something wrong with this vote. It looks like it's been tampered with. You ever heard hanging Chad? That expression?
I'm not familiar with it now. I know
that's like a ballot that had like this little piece of paper hanging off of it, and a lot of the votes were being thrown out because it looked like they had possibly been tampered with, or looked like somebody had tried to vote twice. It was so they did a recount, and because of the recount, it ended up that I think Bush ended up winning Florida because there would never have been a recount if Al Gore hadn't demanded it, because he was conceding the election, and apparently he was as they continued to count in the mail-in, and that's another thing. Usually up until a week after the election, mail-in ballots are still being counted. That's just traditional. But because this is the first time that we've had an election in a pandemic where they say social distancing is required, and if you don't have to go to the polls, then it's not we suggest you vote by mail.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump, who has in every election that he's ever voted in, has voted by mail. Okay. He's never voted in person for anything. It's always by mail. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't trust mail-in voting because he's fucked everything up so bad that, and think about it, man, he has done nothing to fight this COVID pandemic. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And his latest thing is he wants to he believes in something called herd immunity.
Yeah.
Which means that he wants the pandemic to burn through the entire population of the United States. And they imagine that 2 to 3% of the population will die.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. So that means that it's acceptable to him that 5 million Americans die. But the problem with this particular virus, man, is that the immunity, the antibodies that give you immunity, they only stay in your body like 3 months, and then you're no longer immune. The immunity doesn't last. You see, and let's see, hanging Chad. I wanted to get back to that so I can give you
a definition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you think this coronavirus is also a reason, or it's going to be a reason, or have some sort of play on the whole results which take place? Because I've been hearing that Trump is like, he's not going to concede. He's not going to, even if they say Biden won, he's going to dispute it. Like, apparently he's like, I'm not going quietly. I don't believe it's real. And I can imagine he's going to do that too. I can imagine he's going to.
Well, he even told this racist militia called the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
He said, "Stand down, but stand by."
That's just weird. That's just really weird.
No, what he's basically doing is he's telling all of these racist people with guns that okay. Okay, here's what hanging Chad is. Fragments sometimes created when holes are made in paper, card, or similar synthetic materials, such as computer punch tape or punched cards. The word Chad has been used both as a mass noun or a countable noun. In other words, when they talk about hanging Chad, it's like if you've got like a ballot that's been punched, like because these electronic voting machines that use paper, you punch. You got this little tool and you punch, right? Well, sometimes if you like don't punch it correctly, or you like if you punch and you want to change your vote or something like that, they say, hey, well, hey, this person obviously didn't do this right. If there's any mistakes on the ballot, rather than try and figure out what the person was trying to say on that ballot, they just throw the ballot out. And so you had these pictures of you had these images of people like holding these ballots up to the light, and then you got like three people looking at a ballot, and it was just ridiculous, man.
So okay, so you got Trump. I want to know why people would want to vote for Trump, because I'll tell you, like, to me, I'm a little bit more neutral.
Because people listen, man. Trump, it's like Dave Chappelle was saying when he was voting in Ohio, which is where he lives. He lives in this little farm community in Ohio, and he said he drove up to the polling station and he saw the pickup trucks and tractors, out in the parking lot where these farmers and these fucking rednecks are going to vote, and he said he knew at that point that we were in trouble. And then he said he's standing in line with all of his fellow Ohio citizens, and he said they're standing there chewing their tobacco and shit like that. Man, Donald Trump's gonna go to Washington and he's gonna shake things up. And he's gonna fight for me. And then Dave said, you stupid motherfucker. You are poor. When Donald Trump goes to Washington, he's gonna be fighting for me. Because Dave Chappelle is rich, and Trump was fighting for the top 1%. He don't give a shit about poor folks. Lyndon Johnson. Okay. He was Kennedy's vice president. And when Kennedy got killed, Johnson became the president.
Okay.
Lyndon Johnson, one of the most profound things he ever said was, if you can convince the poorest white trash white man that he is better than the richest, most educated black man, if you can convince this white man that he's better than this black man, regardless of social status, whatever, he said, then you have found a loyal supporter and you can rip him off. You can put your hand in his pocket and take everything he's got as long as you keep him convinced that he's better than black people.
No. It's just crazy. It's just
Yeah,
crazy.
well, you know, people are racist at the core, you know.
I liked what you posted today on your Facebook. That was really a nice post. It makes sense. Like I said, I think Donald Trump has come in, and like you say, like me, I'm like, what I wanted to say was I feel like I would personally, just based on what I see, keep Trump in. But based on what you wrote, no, I would. But based on what you wrote, I think there's not enough time elapsed for him to do enough damage that we, as the people, decide it's enough is enough. I think there's not been enough damage yet. I think there needs to be more damage that we can be like, nah, man, we're never going to do that mistake again. I think you see it so far now, but I think there needs to be more. I think we need to go to hell and back. I don't think we're quite in hell yet. I think we're halfway down the road.
Dude,
but we're not
let me
quite...
explain something to you. And this is I went against myself and what I believe. And I actually voted. Okay.
You voted? You voted?
Yeah, I voted.
Okay.
I voted. And I voted for Biden, even though I think he's too old.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that America needs to stop selecting old white men to be the president.
Definitely. We're going to come back to that in a minute.
But I voted for Biden, not because I believe that Biden is, I believe he's a politician.
Yeah.
Okay. But Biden knows how to get along with, I mean, we've got allies and international relationships that have been well established, and just stability. This guy has so destabilized the world that right now Russia is in a position to dictate international policy. Russia has gotten so strong because of Trump abandoning the playing field, right? Yeah. And anybody who doesn't believe that Trump is working for Russia is just refusing to see it. Trump has done something in Russia where Vladimir Putin owns his testicles. And that's why everything that Russia has done in the last 4 years, Trump would not even, he won't even acknowledge the fact that that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. Even though his son, his campaign, they were having meetings with Russians during the campaign to try and sabotage Clinton's campaign. Yeah. That's illegal. That's against the law. You know what I mean? And no collusion, bullshit. You know, and like I said, me personally, I think the whole system is fucking corrupt, but it works. It's a system that works. Right now, you can't even get you can't get roads paved because he's taking. He's got Nancy Voss privatizing public schools. You know, public schools are they're trying to do away with public schools to where only rich people can afford education.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They're keeping the goods for just a few, and it just for the few people. No one else can have the goods. The thing is, the stuff that's being designed and created is for the majority, but for some reason we're not allowed to have
Listen,
it.
let me explain something to you, man. An ignorant population is something that plays right into the hands of the elites. And that's one of the reasons why, well, put it like this. We have been, in the past, we have been given just enough education to turn us into dependable employees, where the rich people, they send their kids to private schools where they get the top-notch education.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you need to have just enough education to where you can work for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing that I noticed. Like everybody says, the Jews this, the Jews that. You know, I'm going to tell you something, man. I worked with Jewish agencies. I worked with you know, I spent a lot of time working with Jewish people, and I went to a lot of super expensive Jewish weddings. And I'll tell you the main difference between Jews and non-Jews. You can apply this to a lot of Arabs as well. You can apply this to a certain extent to Greeks and Turks as well. When we get out of school, we look for a job.
Yeah.
When they get out of school, they open a fucking business.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. But they also have the financial backing for it. Like, we don't have that. You know, I would love to start a business when I was 16. But I just didn't have anyone in my circle who had the funds. You know, one time I actually wanted to go, actually got offered a scholarship to do IT, which I realized now would have been very beneficial to me. But what happened was I went around trying to collect £6,000, which would be about $8,000 back then, or even more, $10,000. And I couldn't get a penny out of anybody. And in the end, I had to let the scholarship go. So I think that's the difference. They're more organized than it, but because they've had wealth for a long time, I guess they know how to do it. We haven't. Us as black people, for example, we've never had wealth. We've never had it. Well, probably back in like.
Sometimes it's not even about wealth. This black guy who was kind of a mentor to me when I was just starting out, when I was in my early 20s. I went to work for him. He started this company called Austin Barter.
Yeah.
It was in Austin, Texas, and it was he started this thing what he called a barter system. You know, in the end, it failed. You know, but that was just one of the many business schemes that this guy started. And what he did was he acted as a broker. He would go between these different businesses to get them to trade goods and services. Say, for instance, you own a restaurant. Well, the people that work in your restaurant, they need uniforms. You know, you need your linens done, your tablecloths, your napkins, your towels, you know, your aprons. You need all that shit washed. You need all that shit serviced, right? Well, the people that work in this linen service, they need to feed their employees from time to time. Well, if you give their employees a discount, you give them a company discount for eating in your restaurant.
Yeah.
You know, and he would put together the trading of goods and services. You know, in the end, it failed because there were not enough people that were willing to participate.
No.
You know, and I'm just saying it's because back in he was like, let's go back to the barter system, because back in the old days, that's how that shit worked.
Yeah,
You know,
it would make more sense actually.
yeah. That way, say for instance, you got a cash poor business, you know, you can actually make money or save money by providing services to other people, and they can provide something that your company needs that would normally be very expensive, you know, and rather than lay that money out for those services, you can get that at a discount or free of charge,
Yeah.
you know. And he was putting these people in touch with each other,
Yeah.
you know, and it worked to a certain and I worked for him for a little while, though it was just very really difficult getting companies to agree, you know, to do that. It was a good idea. And this guy told me, man, he said, Butch, he said, making a living is one of the most difficult things in the world to do. But he said, if you got one good idea,
Yeah.
and you can put it into practice, and he said, one good idea can take care of you for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and your family.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You know, he said it takes a lifetime to make a living, but you can make a fortune just like that.
Yeah. Sure. So that's it, man. Well, like this barter system thing, I think the biggest flaw with this is obviously the human element, and is that like they did a survey, so they asked me would I work in exchange for a comfortable life, and I said yes. But they asked me, do I believe I would work? Do I believe my colleagues would work to have a comfortable life? And I would say in most cases no. So that what made this thing fail is that we don't trust our fellow human. We think that they're going to be like, no, I'm going to chill at home and do nothing. We look, when it comes down to something like this, we tend to look at the poorer parts of the society and not the people who actually go out and work. We've actually got a natural innate desire to go and work and make things better. You know what I mean? People like Tesla, they didn't need money to design all the stuff they wanted to do. You know, Darwin, what's his name? The famous Einstein, they didn't create stuff because they were like, we're going to make money. They created stuff because they wanted to bring the civilization, human race forward. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. What's happened with capitalism? That's why I'm not really a big fan of capitalism. It's kind of this. It's given us a handicap. You know, it stopped progress. Because look how many people who are brilliant in places like Africa and the Arab world and India and South America and China and these countries, or North Korea, where people are not getting a chance to express themselves because they're always under this poverty line, you know, with scarcity. Like, oh man, I can't afford it, man. I gotta focus on trying to eat.
Well, it's hard to give up that security.
Yeah.
You know, see, that's one of the things with working for a living, man. You never, they don't pay you enough for you to get ahead. They pay you enough to where you are like
Just
1 to 2 paychecks
yeah. Away from
away from
poverty.
homelessness. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I always used to ask myself when I was younger. I was like, why did they only pay me this much money? My first job, I think I was making like four pounds, which would have been about $8 an hour back then. And I was like, why am I only getting like $8 an hour? I was like, this is peanuts. You know, I'm here working all the hours God sends for like 700 £700, which is about $1,400 back then, a month. I was like, this is peanuts. I can't survive on this. I couldn't even rent a house, but I'm working all these hours to just to breathe. Like I used to, you know, I was younger. I was 16, 17. So I'm working and I'm making like $1,400. And in the first week, most of that was gone. You know, you don't got no money sense. You know, you pay all your little bills. Like, you know, you're bored.
Sure.
And you're like, man, I got like 200 quid for the month. I can live on $50 a month. I can live on $55 a week. Sorry. That's it.
And just think about trying to take care of a family on that.
Yeah, that's not thinkable. That's unthinkable. That really is unthinkable. But yeah. Anyway, going back to the task at hand, the topic at hand. Obviously, we've got the elections going at the moment. So like I was saying, Trump, I would probably lean towards leaving him in simply because I think he's not done enough damage. Not because I support him. I don't support him one bit. I don't like the guy. He doesn't represent anything I believe. But I think he could move us forward by causing so much problem that every country on the planet would take note and be like, oh my God. Like we already have actually. Every country's invested at the moment in what happens with America right now. We're like, oh man, if Trump stays in there, we're probably all in trouble. Which I don't think is actually that true, to be fair. I think he doesn't really know what he's doing himself. He's just trying to get by. For him, it's a reality TV show. Trump is in a reality TV show right now, and that's all it is. That's his big show, his big stage. And he's going to make.
Well, that's why he talks about ratings. He talks about ratings. Television ratings. He says, "Yeah, my rallies get better ratings than Well, you're not a TV star, man. You're the president." My brother just tried to call me via Messenger, and I told him, dude, I'm in the middle of a podcast, and then I asked him, so what is your gut telling you? And he's responding right now. I'm asking him, what are the exit polls saying? The people coming out of the voting stations, what are they? How is it trending?
Wait, I'm gonna actually check that up in a sec. I think it's let's see, it's probably last time I checked, Biden was massively in the lead actually, but that's early voting. What I want to know is that these controversial US electoral college electorals. Can you shed some light on that? Because you were saying it's like the popular vote. I think you touched a little bit on it a bit earlier. Let me see. Let's see the vote. Election. Oh man, I can't. Vote. Latest. It's actually on Twitter. I don't know if you use Twitter. Actually, that might be something for you actually, because you write good posts. But then again, you only have so much time to write, so much characters to use. But there's something trending at the moment called Dear America.
Dear America on Twitter?
Yeah, and they're pretty much saying like, wait, let me see, Dear America. And people from around the world are writing to America to tell them to do the right thing, basically like, I can read a couple. Dear America, the world is watching you today. No pressure. Dear America, please don't give us Trump again. Your politics affects the entire world. Dear America, please don't mess it up tonight. Regards, rest of the world. Dear America, if this one wins, remember everything that follows you brought it on yourself, and you messed up the rest of the world. The only time to drain the swamp of these evils was now. That was actually an anti-Biden tweet. The thing is, what I want to say is, about this. Okay, so this is the day we've all been waiting for, because really we've been listening to these guys called the QAnon. You know about QAnon?
Yeah, sure.
These I don't know who the hell they are. I don't know what they stand for. I don't know, but they say that Trump is their holy grail, their holy savior. He's coming to put waves into politics, which to some extent he actually has done. To be fair, we can't take that away from him. He's really shook things up a little bit. But then I'm like,
well, I mean, come on, man. Think about it. QAnon. Do you know what these people actually stand for?
Where we go as one, we go. I don't know, man.
Where we go one, we go all.
Yeah.
Okay. But do you know what they stand for? That's their slogan. Where we go one, we go all.
I don't know.
these guys actually believe that Democrats and celebrities, they think that they are all pedophiles. They're
Yeah.
devil worshiping pedophiles
Mm.
who are cannibals, and they eat children. They even have this. They think that people um, are. They have this. What is it called? Dream.
Oh,
Uh, Adrenochrome.
adrenochrome. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
They think adrenochrome is extracted from the brains of babies,
Mm.
and that they inject themselves with it to. It's an hallucinogen
Yeah.
that these shape shifting pedophiles uh, get high on,
Yeah.
and they have to consume babies to get it.
You listen to this and you
They
think to yourself,
actually believe this shit.
what the hell? The thing is, I mean, there's a lot of stories that suggest that this could be has some weight. You know, there's a lot of people have come out and said, yeah, I was involved in it. But then again, you never know, man. That's like back in the day, people used to say there was a lot of alien sightings, and saw UFOs. And now I'm like, you got cameras everywhere, and we still don't see the UFOs that used to be more, you know, frequently visiting the Earth. Back in the 60s when there was no cameras, and now there's cameras everywhere. I don't see these UFOs. I haven't seen a clear picture of a UFO.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. I mean, with all this technology, how in the hell can they? Why can't they take a clear photo?
Yeah, I'm still thinking that's the thing, because I used to be into this conspiracy stuff
Man,
too
you,
back
you
in the
got the
day.
Hubble telescope
Yeah,
out there in space.
can look at the planet flipping zoom,
The Hubble telescope, man, can
see galaxies,
yeah,
see other galaxies. You know,
but they haven't seen one fucking spaceship.
yeah. I'm still like, I'm not saying there's no life, it doesn't exist, because I do believe there's extraterrestrial life outside of this planet. But I'm like,
I mean, come on, man. There's millions of galaxies.
yeah, sure.
There's millions of galaxies, and I think it would be the epitome of arrogance for us to say that we are the only people
See,
on the planet,
the thing with
or
this
the
though.
only galaxy that is able to sustain
Sustain
life.
life, yeah. The only
That's
thing
that's
is,
it just doesn't stand to reason.
yeah, but I think that's the thing with this religious argument, because the moment they find out that there is actually, if they can get
Well,
proof
I
that there's
think I
life,
think I think I basically think religion is all bullshit too.
well, yeah, I mean, the less said about that, the better.
You
that's
know,
that's another podcast for another day.
yeah. I mean, if you and the thing of it is you got that's one of the reasons why I'm really down on a lot of this shit, man. Because think about this, dude. You've got the religious people, the Christian people who believe that God is love, and you know, but these are the most racist, selfish bastards. I
Mm,
mean, you cannot legislate morality.
yeah,
You can't do it. You know, it's like back in the day, if you were gay, you could go to jail.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, and they base their whole fucking religious shit on stuff like that, where they say homosexuality is an abomination.
mm,
You know, uh, but it also says, it also says that eating shellfish is an abomination. In the
yeah,
same fucking paragraph where it says that being gay is an abomination, eating shellfish is an abomination.
yeah.
Eating pork is an abomination.
That's just dumb. That's just really dumb. I don't get that. You know, I don't get that. Some of the stuff that we came up with, and we came up with this with it. We humans, we're stupid. What is that? We're lost in our own significance. We think that we're better than we actually are, but we're not. We're just normal. We're just animals with a slightly higher intelligence level, so to speak.
Religion was created to control poor people and to make them happy with their lot.
Yeah.
Religion is made to put rules on you and me, while the people who make those rules get to do whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why back in the day, the only people who were allowed to get education were priests and royalty, nobles and priests. Commoners were not allowed to be educated. You had to believe whatever you were told.
Yep. Trying to think. Okay, let's see. Latest odds. Well, apparently, the thing is, I think it's going to be a lot closer than we think, man. I think all this low, thinking that it's going to be easy for Biden. I don't know if it's going to be like that. I think we're going to probably be surprised tonight, or when we wake up in the morning.
Oh, you think Trump's going to win? Is that what you believe?
He shouldn't win. Even though I think it's better if he does win, he shouldn't win.
Why do you think it's better if he wins? I'm still trying to get my head around.
Yeah, because like I said, like I don't like, how you said at the top of the show, Biden represents normalcy. I've never been a fan of the way things are normal, because I think that's like saying people like people are talking about this coronavirus now, and everyone's like,
I'm not talking about normal in the sense that I like I said, he represents the status quo, which I hate.
Yeah.
Okay, but he's not a narcissistic sociopath.
He's not crazy. He's not crazy. Well, actually, we don't even know.
Donald Trump will burn down the world to protect himself.
Probably will as well. Yeah, I've not said anything.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm serious. I mean, he has basically said that he's not going to do anything to curtail COVID. He's not gonna. Do you know they estimate that just his political rallies have resulted in 30,000 deaths? You know what I mean?
You're just gonna laugh about that because you're like, man, how stupid could it be?
You know what I mean? Because he doesn't believe in social distancing. He doesn't believe in wearing masks. He insists that there's no social distancing because he likes the visual of having people packed in without masks. He doesn't like the way he looks with a mask on. So he's telling people masks don't work, and when it's proven that they do. He argues with like hydrochloroquine. He argues with people.
I don't know about that.
He argues with science. He said, let's figure out if we can inject people with bleach. What the fuck, man?
It's like a 5-year-old.
Yeah. This dude's a fucking he's a fucking retard, man.
Yeah.
Hold on just a second, man. I'm gonna wake my girl up and send her to bed. She got to get up and work in the morning. Oh, you're awake? Yeah. Am I being loud? Should I turn off the TV? Hold up. You good? Okay.
So we're live. We're listening to the Blackopolypse podcast election night special. We're gonna go on for a little bit longer. I think we'll try and figure out what's going on. I feel like it's a very important day for the world, although I don't know if it's going to change too much. But it's definitely going to be an interesting whatever happens. Actually, no, actually, I'll correct myself. It is going to change a lot. I think whatever happens, it's going to be uproar and upheaval after this.
So where's the rest of your folks, man? Who was supposed to be on this call with us?
Simon was meant to come on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. This guy's become very unreliable. I might have to chop him, man. I might have to give him the chop.
Well,
I know, and the girl, I think the girl's probably gonna come on a bit later because I think she's probably gonna try and get home before.
Yeah. Well, she was. I couldn't understand anything she was saying
that's
anyway.
what I mean. She needs to get home, so
yeah.
Hopefully she'll rejoin a bit later.
Where's she from? She sounded like an American.
Ohio. She lives in Ohio.
Oh, she's from OH10, huh?
OH10. Oh yeah, that's it. OH10.
Yeah.
But don't say that to her though, man. I think she calls it something else, man. Ohio.
Yeah.
Or did they call it OH10? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. OH10. Yeah.
She's a big football fan. She loves college football. So
yeah, well, Ohio State's one of the biggest football schools there is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I wanted to say was with Trump, the reason why I would say keep Trumping.
There's no reason to keep Trump in,
there's
man. I'm sorry.
Let's be honest with you. I agree with you there 100%. There is no reason to keep Trump in. I don't support Trump, like I said, and I don't think it's a good idea anyway. But the only reason would be is simply because
we're scared to get rid of him because all the white folks are gonna go crazy and get out on the streets with their guns and start killing people if he doesn't.
Do you think that's gonna happen? Do you think there's gonna be there's gonna be repercussions?
There have been so many people that are talking. I've even heard cops say that they can't wait to wait, where is that shit? This policeman said he got fired. He got fired for saying it, but he said he can't wait for the race war to start so he can get out on the street and start killing niggas with his AR-15.
Really?
Yep.
That's just crazy.
Hold on. He can't wait for race war. Yeah. North Carolina police officer. Yeah, he was fired for saying it.
Okay.
He said, he says, I can't wait for the Civil War to begin because that's what we need. We need a civil war. We need a civil war to wipe him off the fucking map. We need to put him back about 5 generations.
That's crazy.
Put him back to the point where they can never recover. And this is a cop.
That's just crazy. Really. That's just crazy.
But the idiot, he was saying it and his radio was on in the car. And his fucking and the dispatch people were recording. Every time your radio is on, everything you say is being recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just crazy. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, Trump. I had a point to make. Trump is he doesn't represent the normal stuff, and I don't like that. Once Biden's back in there, everything kind of goes back to normal. It's business as usual.
Oh, it'll never be normal again. It's going to take at least 4 years to fix the shit that Trump fucked up.
Yeah. But let's say
if you give him 4 more years to continue fucking shit up, I can imagine that by the end of his next 4-year term, that the Constitution is changed.
Yeah, he'll take it apart.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely.
He doesn't believe in the Constitution anyway.
Mm. But so wait there. Before I carry on, I want to know what you think about Kanye West. And was he a serious candidate? And could he have been a serious candidate? Because I tried to say to somebody, I listened to Kanye West's 3-hour podcast with Joe Rogan. And when he was talking, I was like, actually, he's young. He's a bit more of a futurist guy. He's a bit more, he's not as stupid as people think, man. He's actually probably really smart. The things he's saying.
Kanye West is manic depressive. Okay. And the problem with manic depressives is that they are really cogent and really they are normal when they take their medicine. But the problem is when they take the medicine, they don't feel like themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So, he's either extremely manic or he's depressed, and the medication keeps him balanced. The problem is that a lot of manic depressives, they don't like the way the medicine makes him feel, and so yeah, man, it's you can't have somebody in the White House who, because he's having a fucking bad day, decides to nuke somebody.
Actually, I don't think Trump, even though he has so much power, I think he can't actually do that. He doesn't have that power. I think he has to go for a couple of people for that. I think like 4 or 5 people have to get together at once or something.
What he has is he has the codes. He has the codes, but because it's Trump, he doesn't really have let's see, what is this shit here? Oh, well, anyway, I was reading this bullshit about these cops in North Carolina. That's where they're from. Yeah. They fired 3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah. He feels like a civil war is coming and that he is ready.
Who said
Piner
that?
said this is a cop.
Okay.
He says his name is Officer Piner, and he was speaking to one of his fellow officers named Moore. He said he feels like a civil war is coming and that he's ready. He's going to buy a new assault rifle soon, and he's going to just go out and get started slaughtering them fucking niggers. I can't wait. God, I can't wait. Yeah, he said, in fact, I think we need a civil war to wipe them off of the fucking map. That'll put them back about 4 or 5 generations.
Wait, can I ask you, who's the civil war going to be against? Americans against Americans, or white people against black people? Because to be fair, just as many white people support the Democrats as black people, I guess.
Actually, there's more people that support the Democrats.
Yeah. So I'm wondering.
And what's really interesting is that the Republican Party is the party that abolished slavery.
Yeah.
The Democrats used to be the racist party.
Yeah, sure. I know there was a black branch of the Republicans back in the day.
Yeah, sure.
Back when it was slavery, but I'm still wondering who's fighting the war. Who's Republicans against the Democrats? How do you know who's a Democrat? How do you know who's a Republican?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Essentially the war is going to be if a civil war starts as a result of this election, it's going to be a bunch of these militias just going out onto the street and just start killing people.
Yeah.
And since a lot of them are racist, they're they're gonna start. They're probably gonna start shooting minorities.
Okay, so they're gonna try and okay, just pick on the minorities as usual.
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, I'm gonna give you a statistic right quick. Uh, it's it's crazy, man. Yeah. Let's see. See, militias are basically private security forces that are their main thing is to protect white rights.
Okay.
That's most of these private militias. That's what they're all about, preserving the white way of life.
That's just crazy. Yeah, so you got like obviously you got like all these crazy sections of the racist white guys, starting from the Aryan Brotherhood and all these Proud
Mhm.
Boys, etc. But then you got like, are they going to be fighting against the Mexicans like the MS-18 and stuff like this? I mean,
You mean MS-13?
that's it. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, I'm not that clued in anymore. And then you got
Yeah.
like the Crips and the Bloods, because they're gonna have to side with the MS-13.
Well,
And
first of all, the Crips and the Bloods, they they got to learn how to get along. You know, man, I made I wrote a poem called Black Lives Matter a few years back. You know, when Black Lives Matter started getting really popular, you know, and it kind of like made me sick, you know, because I went and looked up some statistics, you know,
yeah,
and it just drove me nuts, man. That everybody, you know, it's like cops are not. They didn't just start killing black people. We just started filming it.
yeah,
You
sure.
know,
It's always be the same.
you know. Okay, this is the poem I wrote. Uh, Black Lives Matter. That's the title.
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter. I totally agree. But my brothers and sisters need to explain something to me. I see all the protesting every time a cop kills a brother, but where are all those protesters when we black folks kill each other?
Yeah.
When a cop kills a black person, an injustice has been done, but black folks kill each other at a rate that's worse than anyone. In the US in 2015, 500 people were killed by cops. 125 of those were black. Yep, this has to stop. But blacks killed 2,300 blacks. We're killing our own kind. So I have to ask this question: have we lost our fucking mind? When black people kill black people, no one says a fucking word. But let a cop kill a black person, we raise hell. I think it's absurd. I guess I'm trying to ask my peeps if they think it's all right for our people to get murdered as long as the murderer is not white. I know that some of my people will want to pull my brother card, but I'm only speaking truth, people, and sometimes truth is hard. Yes, Black lives do matter. There's no reason to discuss, but they won't matter to everyone till they matter more to us,
Yeah. It's really good.
you know? And that's like I said, you know, and when I first heard, you know, when people were first starting to take off on this Black Lives Matter shit, you know, that's when I started tripping, you know.
Yeah. So you don't really support Black Lives Matter, or don't you think?
Oh, sure I do. Sure I do.
It's not really what
Sure I
it's supposed
do.
to be.
I just think in the beginning they were it's like, you know, it was a money grab, you know, it's like give us your support, give us your money,
Mm.
you know. But now I think because of the mainstream, uh, the publicity and the support that it's getting
Yeah.
from, I mean, because I'm going to tell you something, man. I really have a hard time. I call it the civil rights industry,
Yeah.
you know, where people like Jesse Jackson and people like that, they get rich. You know, Reverend Al Sharpton,
Yeah.
you know, uh, Louis Farrakhan, people
Yeah.
like that get super rich, you know, taking up the mantle of Black causes. But uh, Jesse Jackson became a millionaire through Operation Push. He was able to send his kids to private school.
Yeah.
His kids ran for Congress and shit like that.
Mm.
You know, he himself became a very wealthy man because of his Rainbow Coalition and his Operation Push.
Yeah.
You know, Al Sharpton became a TV star. He's got a news program. He's got a blog. You know, he's a millionaire.
Mm.
You know, but what has he actually done for Black people? He's been in the press, and he's been a civil rights activist for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
But what has he actually accomplished besides getting a platform for himself? You know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous, man.
I mean, this is like the what do they call it? The elders. They call them the elders, and these are the guys who are supposed to like lead us and tell us what's right and what to do. But I think a lot of them, sold their soul and just thought to themselves, you know what? They're not listening. I'm just gonna make my money and dip. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to comment on. To be fair, I don't know.
Don't get it twisted, man. I mean, I do believe that it's okay to call attention
No.
to injustice, you know, but I think for what purpose? You know, are you what is it about the movement, or is it about you personally?
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
people like that are as far as I'm concerned, not really doing anybody any favors other than themselves.
Yeah. I think you're right actually, because like there's a thing going on at the moment in England. There's a football movement. There's a footballer who's come out now and he spoke against the free school meals. Like in England, I don't know if you know that, but they get free school meals when the kids are at school all day, and the parents who are not working or unable to work don't have to pay for school meals. And basically, the government in England have said, "Look, we're taking that away. You know, you guys need to fight for yourself," which is not really fair. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of
Dude, I'm
single.
going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. I am against welfare.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
But but the thing is, I think like for example, there's always the argument like, yeah, they shouldn't be having kids. But the thing is, pregnancy happens and it unplanned.
It's not even about that. My problem with welfare is that it it as long as you've got the government teaching people that they have no need to be self-sufficient, then they've got no reason to improve their lot. I mean, I'll give you an example. A woman in America, she can have, the more babies she has, the more money she gets from the welfare.
Yeah.
You know, but let the father of the baby move in with her and they take her money away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So they're teaching people. It's kind of like a friend of mine. He was a junkie, you know, and his wife was a junkie,
Mm.
and she ran off and left him with 2 kids. You know, he lived in his car for a little while, got himself clean because he needed to be clean to take care of his kids.
Yep.
You know, and uh, he went and applied for public assistance, and they put him in government housing.
Yeah.
And they told him that you need to sit here and collect this money. Um, and he didn't have to pay rent, but he couldn't uh, uh, pay the light bill. They
Yeah.
gave him food stamps so he didn't have to buy food, but he still had to pay for his utilities. He had to pay for his electricity, he had to pay for his water, had to pay for his natural gas to keep his stove lit,
Yeah.
you know? And so he was falling behind every month. He was falling into debt. This guy was a carpenter by trade, and he started doing odd jobs for people. All right. And they wanted him to apply for assistance uh, to get the government to pay for his lights, to get the government to pay for his water, to get the government to pay for his gas.
Yeah.
And this guy decided he was going to go out and do odd jobs for people. You know, he was, you know, mowing people's grass. He was, you know, doing repairs on people's houses and things like that.
Yeah.
And they would come. They would say, "Well, how did you pay your light bill last month?" He said, "Well, I built a carpet. I built a shelf for somebody in their house, and he paid me this."
Mm.
And so they would take that money away from his benefit.
Yeah.
They don't want you to try and improve your lot. They want to keep you dependent on that shit because that keeps that keeps their bureaucracy working. That
Yeah.
justifies their existence. You know, they
Yeah.
want to have an indigent class. They want to have people so they can convince themselves that they're taking care of you. Oh, look what we're doing for these poor black people. You want to help the poor black people? Improve the schools in their neighborhoods.
Yeah. Sure.
Improve the infrastructure in their neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Provide education opportunities. You know, provide job opportunities, training, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, and this guy, he said, "You know what? You guys don't want me to succeed because you're putting all these roadblocks in the way of me succeeding." So he
Yeah.
told him to fuck off. He moved out of public housing. He took his kids and he went back to living in his car, and he opened a business. And he started doing carpentry. You know, at first he was running his business out of his car. Then he got a cheap apartment. Then he started actually improving his lot, and then he started giving people jobs. You know,
Yeah.
this guy, and he was fucking, you know, and he told me, he said, "Butch, I'll never ever put myself in a position again where I have to accept money from the government because they want you to get dependent on that shit."
Yeah. Sure.
You've got free medical care. The only way to get free medical care back in the day in America was if you got kids, you know, they will give
Yeah.
you Medicaid, Medicare, you know, because that's for kids, and they would take care of you like that, you know.
Yeah.
Or if you were somebody who, like, if you're a junkie or something, They got you running from pillar to post, you know, to get your benefits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a full-time job keeping your benefits going. So you don't have time to go out and look for a real job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like they okay, you every month you got to have so many documents filled out to keep your benefits going. And that's a full-time job in and of itself,
Yeah.
you know. And that's why I don't believe in it. It's like it's like the master taking care of his slaves, you know. It's like, oh, these people are not able to take care of themselves, you know. And that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, man. You know, and it goes and it repeats itself generation after generation. You know, this mother's on welfare, her daughter's on welfare, her granddaughter's on welfare. You know,
Yeah.
I don't believe in it, man. I don't believe in it. What is that old African proverb? Uh,
Classic. Yeah.
Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but if you teach him how to fish, you feed him for a
For life.
lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah. It would make sense in doing that, but for some reason we just haven't quite figured that out yet.
Man, you know, it's these things make sense, but they don't want people to think and do for themselves. They want to do for you because they want you to feel like you cannot do it without them,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's a sad situation, but that's what it is, you know? I'm a junkie. So what's the government gonna do? They're gonna provide me with clean needles so I can go out and yeah, they have the needle exchange program. So junkies can go in and turn in their dirty needles and get new ones because they don't want people sharing needles. How about you get these motherfuckers off drugs? You know?
Yeah. They need you to be on the drugs because it's the same with having people on unemployment. People, I realize that, for example, this job center, you need a job, you need people to be employed, or that job wouldn't be exist. Being in a job center, it wouldn't exist. So,
Absolutely.
you know, so there needs to be a certain section of people who stay unemployed in order for that job to exist. I don't know, but you
I
know,
mean, think about it, man. You've got so much redundancy in these government bureaucracies. You know,
mm,
um, you got so many people working in these offices that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. I don't. I can't count the number of times I've had to turn in paperwork and I turn that paperwork in and then they can't find it.
oh
You know,
yeah, yeah,
you turn it into one motherfucker and he gives it to somebody else and then it disappears. So you have to do it again, you know, and then after you've done it like the third time, they find the first time. Meanwhile, you've had to start the process all over again because the time has lapsed when it was supposed to be turned in the first place.
yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've had to deal with that shit over here, man.
Mm,
You know, it's and that's what happens when you are dependent on the government. I remember when I first came over here, I'm like, are you fucking serious? You mean to tell me how in the world is it possible that somebody can sit on their ass at home and not work and make more money than if he went out and got a job?
yeah.
I actually heard somebody say, "Why should I go to work? Because Sozialhilfe pays me more than I could make working at McDonald's. So why should I go and get a job at McDonald's when I can make more money sitting at home on my ass?"
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. So, to some extent, it makes sense, but also, I don't think it's not that simple, man. I don't think it's that simple.
Well, since the advent of Heart Sphere, it's not the truth anymore because now with Heart Sphere, you can't sit home and make all this money that they used to be able to make before, you know, but you can still sit at home and get Kindergeld and Sozialhilfe, and they'll pay for your apartment and all this shit.
Yeah.
You know, you can still do that. It's just before you could make money. But now you're not making any money. They're just taking care of they're just taking care of your subsistence, you know. You know, you got professionals over here, man, who know how to work the system and keep that money flowing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I don't know. Like I think it's not a bad thing. I think that some people just can't work. I think some people are not.
I think people choose not to work.
Do you think? I don't know. I think some people are not mentally.
I think there's some people that are not fit to work, but I think when you're talking about percentage wise,
Yeah.
I think it's like the same thing, man. You say, oh, there's no jobs. There's jobs, man. There's just not jobs that you want to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, they're taking our jobs away. The foreigners are taking our jobs away. Bullshit. The foreigners are taking the jobs that you refuse to do. That's why when you go to McDonald's, everybody's got brown skin or they've got a Russian or Polish accent.
Yeah.
You know, because Germans think they're above doing that kind of shit. It's the same thing when you go in England. They say there's no jobs, but if you go into a Tesco's that's open 24 hours, or you go into one of these little shopping centers that's open 24 hours, it's usually somebody that's non-white in there that's working. Because the British people don't want those fucking jobs. No. They think they're above them. They're not taking your jobs away. They're taking the jobs that you refuse to do. I was in a hotel, man. This guy was telling me, he was a British dude. He was telling me that his company went bankrupt, and now here I am at the age of 50, and I'm working for minimum wage in a hotel, but that's okay. In 7 years, I'm just gonna sit on my ass and let the government take care of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you'll be 57. He said, yeah, I won't be able to get my full benefit, but I can't retire before I turn 57. But as soon as I turn 57, I'm gonna sit down and let the government take care of me.
No.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. I mean, here I am in my 60s, and I'm pissed because I can't work. Yeah. It drives me fucking nuts. You know, and I don't have any savings, you know, because I have bills every month. You know, it's just frustrating as hell, man. You know, and here we are in another fucking lockdown.
Yeah.
Because people are not smart enough to wear their fucking masks, and people are, oh, it's bullshit. They're trying to take away my freedom. You're stupid, man. Put on your fucking mask and stop going to bars and partying out in the open where you're exposing people to your fucking shit, or you're getting exposed yourself to other people's shit. You know, because, you know, people who don't believe fat is greasy are the stupidest motherfuckers in the world. You know what I mean? Fat is greasy, man. Don't eat fat. It's greasy. You know? And if I tell you don't eat fat, it's greasy, and you go, oh, I think he's just trying to keep me from having something good. Okay. You know what I mean? It's like Richard Pryor. He said back in the day, he said, man, it was like so many black people during World War II that were dying of nerve gas and shit like that. And then they say, well, nigga, nigga, why don't you wear your gas mask? I think these white people trying to trick us. They just don't want these white women to see what we look like. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because they learned that during World War II that black people, that the European women were not averse to having sexual relationships with black people like they were in America. You know, there was no there that taboo didn't exist. But if a black man was found to be having a relationship with a white woman in the military over here during World War II, and if she was married, that was a death penalty.
Really?
Shit, yeah, man. They were killing brothers. The military was executing brothers for sleeping with white women.
It's crazy. That's crazy. That's just crazy. Can't believe that. But then again, you know what? Saying that, actually, I do believe it. Now, come to think of it, America. This is America.
Yeah, man.
So who's gonna win then? Who's gonna win today?
I hope Biden. Then the people win.
Biden wins, the people win. Trump wins. Trump wins, we're all doomed. The thing is, if Trump wins, there's no civil war. If Trump loses, civil war. Is that what it is?
That's what I think.
Then, whatever way happens, we're screwed.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, we're screwed. Oh God, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think all we gotta do is buckle our seatbelts and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. It says that blacks were executed for rape.
Oh yeah, but that was like what I don't know if you watched that recent thing by Bill Burr, where he said these white women used to like sleep with the black men, you know, and when it didn't work out and got caught, it'd be basically like, "Oh, you raped me, you raped me."
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, and that was the thing. If and they were executing these black men because a white woman accused them of rape. You know, when their village found out that they were sleeping with black soldiers, or their husband found out that they were sleeping with black soldiers, because these black soldiers were bringing candy, you know, bringing chocolate, American chocolate. They were bringing them silk stockings and things like that. You know, like you could buy silk stockings in the military exchange. You know, they couldn't get things like coffee. They couldn't get things like chocolate. They you know, just staples. You know, and the black soldiers had access to all of these things. You know, and then the white women would get caught sleeping with these black men, and then they say, "Oh, he raped me,"
Well,
and it was her word against his. He's a dead man.
no.
He's a dead man. And they also said that no self-respecting white woman would have sex consensually with a black man. So he had to be forcing himself on her.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Sure. Sure.
It's kind of one of those
It's
things.
just, huh?
It's been one of those things that's kind of always, worked out in the past. The protection of the white woman, that she's allowed to do whatever she wants. She almost got a free pass. And when the law came down on her, she could just quickly be like, no, I didn't do no, I wouldn't do that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. But what can we say, man? We're in this world together. We're screwed. Let's check if anyone's going to join. No one's going to join. We're done. So we're hoping for a Biden win, and basically what we want is Biden to win, and then 6 months later, 2 weeks later, he passes away, and then we have the half African.
I think that a lot of folks who claim to be Democrats and who claim to support Biden, I think the Kamala Harris factor can work positively and negatively, depending on the voter. If a voter is not averse to having a female black person next in line for the presidency, then we got a good situation. But there are a lot of people that will vote for Donald Trump just because they don't want the possibility to exist that a black woman stands next in line, just stands a heartbeat away from the presidency when the president is pushing 80.
Yeah.
Hold up, man. I'm going to leave my computer so I can go take a piss. I'll be right back.
No problem, man.
Und ich sage herzlich willkommen aus Berlin. Hier bei uns im ZDF Hauptstadtstudio haben wir das Wahlstudio für diese lange Weihnacht aufgebaut. Wir senden durch und laden Sie sehr herzlich ein, dabei zu sein. Das machen wir mit Abstand. Selbstverständlich bleibt uns von Christian Sievers und ich werden uns auch nicht so nahe kommen heute Abend. Christian, bei dir laufen ja die Daten der 50 Wahlen zusammen. Und so kann man schon sagen, es könnte tatsächlich wieder ein knappes Rennen werden.
Auf jeden Fall schon. Das Wort, was ich heute Nacht am meisten benutzen werde, ist Geduld. Wir haben ja gelernt, gerade bei den amerikanischen Wahlen, Umfragen sind
still over there. I just want to make sure you're okay. Sleeping on this motherfucking couch.
werden das hier gewichten und werden in Echtzeit alle Ergebnisse Ihnen zu Hause präsentieren. Und ich kann dir jetzt auch schon was du lieben wirst.
So what is that you're staring at, man?
Me, I'm just doing my, we had the podcast before this show, so I'm just putting up the thumbnail. Because I was, I'm trying, like I said, I was going to be multitasking this evening, so I've just done that quickly. I've kind of changed, I don't know, man, I've lost my template, but it doesn't matter, I can change it. That's it, really. So yeah, anyway, I think no one else has joined us today. Then we've done about 2 hours. Let's call it there.
Okay.
We could we probably can do let's do a podcast. Should we try and do another one tomorrow, maybe tomorrow evening?
Yeah, sure. I'll be here, man.
With the results. Then we can talk about the results and what that means for America.
Yeah. Okay.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, man.
But I'll be very surprised if we know this time tomorrow what's
sure,
gonna happen.
by this time tomorrow, I think it'll be done and dusted.
Well,
morning, it'll be done and
maybe,
dusted.
but like I said, this is the first time in history that they've had so many mail-in ballots. They're going to still be counting mail-in ballots.
That's true. All 250 million of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, let's see what happens, man.
Yeah, man. Let's see what happens.
All right, then, my brother from another mother.
Yeah, man. It's good to get you back on anyway, man. I need to get you back on more often, man. Definitely.
Yeah, man. Like I said, all you got to do is holla.
Yeah, man. All right, then. Let's try again tomorrow together and make it happen, man.
All right, dude.
All right, peace, man. Peace.
Love, peace, and hair grease, man.
Yeah, peace.